Welcome back, gentlemen. So in this video I wanted to do something a little bit more serious. So if you're here for entertainment, then this video is not for you. But if you are a creative, if you have high aspirations, if you are a wannabe solopreneur, entrepreneur, then this video is for you. This video is going to be very value driven. So please feel free to take notes, pause the video, take bits and pieces down. This is going to be very valuable. So I wanted to explore this idea of the solopreneur, right? This is a business model that is becoming increasingly more popular as, I'll get into in a number of reasons, but leverage being one. I mean, many men are adverse to starting a business because of the overhead costs, but by being a solopreneur and not having a lot of people to employ, it's a very skeleton crew in respects to your business model. It's only me. It's only a handful of editors and other VAs that I employ to work for myself, meaning that I keep my overhead low and I keep the income high. So let's just go into that a little bit more. The advantages of the single person business model and why I believe this is something very viable and something that you should be considering if you are planning to live this life of a digital nomad and retire the 9-to-5 completely. So I've already mentioned low overhead, this idea of minimal salary costs through a skeleton crew, right? You only need a VA, maybe you need an editor, maybe you need a social media manager to create your content. Skills development. This is something that is it runs parallel with self-improvement. I really feel that entrepreneurship is a road and the biggest road to improving yourselves as an individual. There are so many skills that I have learned through going on this journey that I thought I would never ever have. When I think back to the benefits of going to somewhere like university compared to just starting my own business, wow, the values are very different. So all the way from content creating to be able to create videos like this, to learning how to make sales, how to jump on a sales calls with a would-be prospect and understand things like value proposition and giving a solution-driven, guarantee for your particular product or service has been of inordinate value to me. Marketing, how to sell the outcome rather than the product itself, which kind of ties back into the sales, but essentially how to position yourself from a perspective to the prospect of where you're going to be after our time together, where we're going to be after a coaching agreement together, where are you going to be after you read my ebook, you go through my course, what are the outcomes? Copywriting, a lot of sales is persuasion. It's how to be persuasive. It's how to appeal to people and build rapport on an empathic level, relatability, feel what the other person is feeling and getting them to buy with logic by simply showing the prospect that if you do not achieve this outcome after our time together, then you don't pay for it. So it makes it very emotionally driven, but also you've got that logic in there as well to show you that there is no risk to the client. Designing. Many of you will be surprised to know that I design all my thumbnails myself. All the products of my ebooks and courses are done by me. I could have outsourced that to Fiverr or a freelancer, or even what's the AI now, Midjourney. But I love designing. I love art. I'm a big fan of art, and that's something that I have previous experience with. But I certainly refined my skills in respects to bringing that art to the digital space. Web development. I've designed my own websites throughout this process. Editing videos, business development in general. So essentially, I just want to tie a nice little neat bow on this particular point and say that if you are interested at all in self-development, entrepreneurship is a significant medium in order for you to develop that. It's very powerful indeed. Let's talk about flexible living, which is arguably one of the main motivators for the single person business model. So I mentioned this concept of being a digital nomad. I am completely location independent, and I think I'm going to flex that particular strength a little bit more this year, in that I can conduct my business from anywhere else in the world as long as I have an internet connection. And I think, considering the last 3 years especially, where many businesses are bringing people back on the leash of being tied to a particular location, you can start to, what would you see? You'd see the reality that this doesn't need to be done from a particular place, and that you can travel, you can live a life of location independence and also still create an income. Autonomy. This is one of the things that I struggled with in my previous jobs. I have a real problem with authority in that I don't like being told what is to be asked of me or should be expected of me, and what to do ultimately. Maybe some men can find resonance in that as well. And I said to myself very early on, I'm not going to have a job where I have to answer to anybody but myself. And the solopreneur is a perfect marriagement of, if you have that particular temperament. You also get to decide the direction your company is going, your business is going, whether it's going to be more sales based, whether it's going to be more content creation based, whether or not you're going to be generating leads, or you're going to be actually dealing with the fulfillment side of things, which is really, really nice. Or you can do both or none, or go in a different direction. And also ideation. I think one of the aspects of it that's very, very satisfying, which kind of ties into this final point here, is that you get to be a creator. You get to be very, very creative. You get to flex that creative muscle, and you're not so much a drone, a cog in a machine, as it were, for some of these 9-to-5 businesses where they're just trying to streamline their systems, but you actually can dictate what those systems are as a consequence of the creative that you have decided that the direction of your business is predicated on. So it's wonderful. And of course, we have to talk about the high margins. Like I mentioned with the skeleton type crew, you're able to accrue a lot of wealth by not outsourcing so much of your income to business partners and various other employees, let's say. So how do you do it? It's very, very attractive, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, Joseph, this is great stuff. This all appeals to me. I resonate with a lot which of what you've said there, pardon me. So how do you do it? Essentially, here's the premise that you need to be moving from, is that you are the product now. You are the unique currency. If the rise of AI is telling us anything, is that what a machine can do is starting to become more and more prevalent and pervasive in our culture. The more we're going to have to rely on ingenuity and uniqueness, and you are a unique variable that a computer and AI cannot yet replicate. Unfortunately, or hopefully, can never replicate. So you need to think about, what value do you offer the market? What are your personal interests? Who do you admire? What can you do better? These are really great questions to start to determine what the unique currency is that you value. I don't believe this namby-pamby, wishy-washy bullshit that people don't have anything valuable to offer. If you're alive today, you solve many, many problems in order to get to where you are. You might have had to overcome great adversity in your life through depression, through anxiety, through maybe a particular health problem, maybe a relationship issue, maybe a psychological temperament, maybe a bad habit, maybe social anxiety. All of these things are problems that people are dealing with right now. There are a couple steps behind you that will pay you in order to facilitate the alleviation of that pain. It's all about offering people a solution, and people will pay you for your unique perspective. I've said countless times, and I really need to reiterate to anybody who is passionate about being a creator, is that your unique story is the difference. There are hundreds of thousands of fitness influencers out there at this very moment pumping out content, but you will just have one that you resonate with because of their personal backstory. Maybe because they look similar to you, maybe because they're from similar financial backgrounds to you, maybe because their religion is something that you also resonate, because their values are similar to yours. Your unique value is what sets you apart from many other people. Many of my clients are just that. Some of them even look very, very similar to me. They have strong spiritual beliefs and values, and that's why we come into our financial agreement. So it's really, really important to remember that the market is not saturated. It's not fucking saturated, because you're the unique principle. You're the unique variable. Let's talk about some skills and expertise, some of which I've mentioned already that you can start to leverage. We've already talked about if you're having, you're able to alleviate a pain point in relationships, maybe in business development, maybe dating, fitness, and writing. If you don't have any, you need to think about, what does the market value? What are people really struggling with right now? So I know there's a lot of content creators right now. Ooh, pardon me. Jesus. Frog in the throat there. Content creators out there that are struggling with these particular platforms here. They don't want to manage their social media accounts because it's an absolute nightmare. They're juggling Instagram, they're juggling Twitter, they're juggling TikTok, they're juggling YouTube, they're juggling Facebook and all these other social media platforms. And it's so much work that's taking out so much time for them that they would rather offload that to somebody else for sake of having that time back. That is a shortcut, that is an automation, that is a system that you can develop for somebody that they will gladly pay you for. Short form content. The amount of times I've been pitched this very week about the fact that I'm not posting on TikTok, I don't have shorts on YouTube or reels on Instagram is absolutely unprecedented. I've yet to come across an offer yet that has been very, very compelling, but they understand that's a pain point. They understand that the algorithms are pushing this kind of content because it's going to increase my traffic reach and therefore it's going to increase my sales. So if somebody can pitch me in a very, very risk-free way that is attractive to me, I might part with my money. Email marketers, same thing. I don't want to have to spend hours and hours writing my emails to be able to market myself to my audience and warm up those leads in order to get sales. Somebody else can do that for me. Editors. Another thing that I've done very, very recently is reach out to some of you fine gentlemen who are interested in editing some of my videos, editing some of my content, because again, that's something that I would gladly part with my money from in order to save a little bit of time. And you can kind of formalize all of these. You can summarize these even by saying saving time or making people money. If you can save somebody time, they will pay you for it. If you can make somebody more money, they will pay you for it. That's all it comes down to. Time, money. Those are the most valuable assets that you can have. And if you're able to give somebody back more time or more money, then they will gladly pay you for it. Target market. Think about who is going to pay you. This is something that I never considered when I was starting off entrepreneurship, is that somebody needs to pay the bills, somebody needs to keep the lights on. So you need to establish first if it's going to be a business that pays you. Maybe you're doing business to business. Maybe you've ascertained that there are some big corporations out there with a very fat budget and you would like a piece of that pie. Maybe there are coaches, maybe there are fitness coaches. Is a niche that I particularly work with because I have a lot of traffic, but I don't have a fitness offer. So it's a very, very easy arrangement for me to reach out to coaches and say, look, I have over 250,000 people, access to over 250,000 men, and you have an offer that I don't have. I think that we could come into some arrangement here whereby if I give you some leads and you're able to close those leads, then I can get some commission. It's all about tying the pieces together and finding out who ultimately is going to put money in your pocket. Who can you bring value to? This is another really good way of looking at it and why I never ever run out of content and never will run out of content, because all my content is geared towards a younger version of me. So maybe younger version of Joseph is out there right now. Maybe he's watching this video. Maybe he's very, very ambitious. Maybe he was aspiring entrepreneur, solopreneur. I'm speaking to you right now, young Joseph. This is all the shit you need to know. So I hope you take action upon it. That's what separates, as trite as it might sound, the winners from the losers. Service outcome. This ties a little bit into marketing as well here, but we've kind of already established this a little bit already in skills and expertise. But how do you make your target audience better off with you? So we already talked about giving people more leads, which ultimately makes them more money. Improved offers, so being able to charge more for the services that you already do, which is a kind of like a value proposition in terms of how do I increase the perception of what I offer? Can I communicate very clearly and concisely to a prospect about how valuable the work I do is going to be for them? And then increase the conversions. It's not enough to have loads of leads coming in if you're only closing a 1%, 2% of those leads. How can we make sure that we're communicating all these bits and pieces more clearly, more concisely in order to make those conversions? It's really important, and I've already established here that it's better, or it's easier, pardon me, to sell outcomes that are quantifiable to people. So for example, there is a service in Twitter where people ghostwrite for other people, which essentially just means that they are taking over social media marketing for their Twitter accounts. They're writing their tweets for them, right? Now, it is very silly for somebody to pitch ghostwriting from that perspective, because it doesn't make any sense, because it's not value oriented. What do you mean you're going to write tweets for me? What you're actually trying to communicate is I'm selling you more free time because that's less time that you have to write, and also I'm generating you warm leads. I'm warming up people to build trust with your company, which will in turn lead to more potential clients. So that is the angle you're always trying to move from in these sales calls. It's not I'm selling ghostwriting, it's I'm selling you more time and more potential clients and more money. Time and money. There it is again. Those are the consistent variables. Networking. This is something that I hugely slept on when I was developing my business, is that I needed to the value and learning opportunities you get via osmosis just from interacting and networking with other people is absolutely unprecedented. And it can greatly accelerate the rate on learning and the outcomes that you will get as a consequence of just being around the right people. It's amazing what that can do, being around the right people. And I can't believe I missed this one. Reverse engineering business model. This is the way you have to think about it, gentlemen, is that if you are trying to create the solopreneur concept and have it come into fruition in your life, the easiest thing you should do is pick somebody who has a life that you are in admiration of or you like the idea of, and you take inspiration from that. I don't want to say you want to copy what they're doing, but you want to just reverse engineer what they're doing. You want to look at what they're doing and thinking, it's interesting how so-and-so is doing this and this and this. How can I replicate that? How can I improve upon it? How can I add my personal spin onto it? And that's how you start to climb the rungs of the ladder to get where you want to go. It's all breaking things down and making them very palatable, very actionable, and implementing into your lifestyle, which doesn't cause you too much neurosis. Let's talk about building trust, because this was a really, really important prospect of warming up those leads to ultimately getting people to pay you. So content creation is all a prospect of building trust, of conveying authority. Part and parcel of me making this video is to communicate to all of you that I know what the fuck I'm doing. And you wouldn't trust me if I didn't. And I don't expect you to trust me if I didn't. So this way I build rapport with you. We build a relationship. I build some relatability because I was just where you were. And this is part and parcel of telling your story. Everybody knows that I have a history of drug addiction. Everybody knows that I have a history of watching too much pornography. And maybe some of you can resonate with that. In fact, I'm being very transparent with it. But it doesn't have to end like that. Your story doesn't have to end wanking into a Kleenex. It can end with you being in a position where you have, 10K monthly recurring revenue. And that is a reality. And I know because I've done it. And you can do it too. Social proof. This is something, again, I'm light on. I don't really like the idea of posting my income, I'm not averse to posting success stories, but I think it's that imposter syndrome, and it's also me trying to not come across too braggy and a little bit of a sellout as well. But it's really important that you communicate to potential prospects and clients that you have had success in what you're doing, that you can make money online, that you can close clients, that you can save people more time, that you can deliver on what you're talking about. It's really, really important. Free value. This is the other way that you have to look about it and start to create that trust. Is the first product I put out to people was a free ebook because I wanted to build trust. I wanted to let people know that this product is going to give you a valuable return, and I'm not even going to charge you for it. But with the idea that in the future, if I do release something paid, you'll remember when I gave you something for free, you'll remember how much it helped you, and you'll be more inclined to part with your money next time because you trust me, because you know it's going to work. And this is a segue into those giveaways here. They can be ebooks, they can be threads on Twitter, which is just a way of a thread you can kind of look at as a small ebook. Emails, giving out free values on emails and blogs as well. It's all about how do you convey confidence in your craft. And then finally, disqualifying people. Here's something that I never knew when I first started, is you're not supposed to sell to everyone. If you're trying to sell to everyone, you are doing your job incorrectly, and you are you're kind of doing something that's a little bit malicious because you're not working with the right people. It's all about working with the right people. Lean into your target audience with purchasing power. I am very, very clear when I'm taking on clients that I do not work with certain types of people. I don't work with students. Reason I don't work with students is because they have other commitments. They're not fully engaged in what I'm going to be teaching them, and usually they don't have strong purchasing power. I want to work with people who are already established, who already have businesses, who maybe don't have the traffic coming their way. I'm very, very particular with that because I want to work with the right people. The worst thing I can do is take on somebody who's not qualified, because not only are they not going to get the results that they want, so they'll waste their time, they'll also waste my time because they can't commit to some of the things that we are doing to move the needle forward. And also, it's expensive. It's expensive what I do. And that's just the matter of fact of it. So only take on people that you know you can help. The amount of people I have turned down is quite a lot. In fact, I've probably turned down more people than I've taken on. And that is purely because I want to make sure I can get people results. That is the most important thing for me to do whenever I'm working with someone. If I'm taking somebody on to develop their brand, if I'm taking somebody on to develop healthy habits, cure addictions, make them more productive, make them more powerful, make them more efficient, I need to make sure first and foremost that I know I can deliver on that. If I can't, I'm doing something irresponsible and I don't take them on. Also, working for free. If you are not in a position where you can charge for something, you want to be able to tell to the individual and communicate to the individual very, very clearly that the only thing that I'm going to charge you is social proof. By the end of our time together, if we get the results that you want, all you need to do is do me a 20-second long video just saying what your problem was, where you were at A, how you got to B, how I helped you develop the system that synthesized you overcoming that pain point and getting to a solution. You have to make sure this offer is irresistible. If anybody is a fan of Alex Hormozy, you know about making an offer that is just too good to refuse. I know that sounds like a cliche of some film, but it's very, very true. Remember what I told you before. People relate through emotion, but they buy with logic. Some of the strongest offers are going to be guarantees. It's you are going to get this or you will not pay me. And that makes it very, very risk-free and builds more of that trust. And over-deliver for client retention. This is something that when you start to get all of these systems nice and fluid, you really want to be developing the idea that you can create retainers, because the value that you're giving somebody is just so overwhelming that it's stupid for them to discontinue working for them. And that is part and parcel of the map that is going to allow you to create this one-person business model for creators. So, gentlemen, I just wanted to drop off this free value for you this afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this. I hope there was something really, really valuable in here that you can kind of take away and start to piece together a business plan. And reach out to me. Reach out to me if this is something that you're very, very serious with. I'm taking on a couple of guys at the moment in a group cohort situation where I'm keeping accountable to some of these actions with some one-to-one support. And hopefully we can find the right people. But with that being said, guys, I hope you got some notes out of this. You can save this video, maybe share it with somebody else who's also got similar aspirations, and I'll bring you something else, maybe a little bit more entertaining or more practical and informative next time. You let me know. Take care.